Welcome back, everybody, to another fun gear review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Winnerwell Ovenstove. Now, I have been looking at this online on Winnerwell USA's website for some time before I finally decided to pull the trigger and buy it. This thing is a beast. It is huge. It is heavy. And it's not for everybody. I'm going to say that right now. I'll give you a quick look here at the box. If you want to pause and read any of that, you're more than welcome. And what really attracted me to this was this built-in oven. It is a large format stove. It's actually bigger than the Nomad Large. Okay, so when I say this thing is big, it's big. It's heavy. Let me give you a little zoom in on this text over here. Go ahead and pause if you want to read any of that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the box here so we can take a look at it and we'll get into some specs. One thing I do want to show you here is this is packed with quite a bit of foam on top and all the way around, and I'm assuming on the bottom too. I haven't got down there. But this is very well packed. That is a lot of foam. So I don't think I'm going to have any damages here. As you can see, just by my arm and hand being in here, this thing is huge, okay? This thing is huge. I can't get over how big it is. And, oh my God. All the welds I can see up through here. Let me zoom in on one of those. All these welds look really good. I'm satisfied. It looks like really good construction. One thing I checked for right away when I unfolded this was to see if there was any sharp edges on these legs. My Nomad Medium, when I first got it, had sharp edges there. And there are no sharp edges on these legs. So that is very good. And yes, it did have foam in the bottom too. So this thing was really well packed. There's no damage at all. There's no nothing on this. It looks really, really good. Before we get into a lot of the specs and everything here, I want to give you a look at the manual that comes in here. It comes in 3 languages, English, DE, I'm not sure on what language that is. I already looked at that part, and Japanese. Here's the English section, and you can go ahead and pause this and read any part of that you wish. The instructions are very similar to what came with the Nomad Medium. Let me turn the page. Turn the page. And this is the last page of the instructions in English. Okay. I'm not sure on this language. Is that DE? Is that Danish? I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can educate me, because I have no idea what language this is. And then the last language in here I know is Japanese for sure. That's Japanese. I can't read it, but I recognize it, and the JP is a dead giveaway. Alright, let's get into the specs on the stove. Now this stove is so large, I can't place it on the table facing us. I'm going to have to do some different shots to give you an overall look at this. But now I'm going to read you some specs here. Now this is not a cheap piece of gear. This is very expensive. List price on this from Winnerwell USA is $629.99. However, when I ordered this, what caused me to order it is they put it on sale for $472.49. I was willing to stomach that price, so I bought it. Now this is, of course, made in the Nomad series shape, that square type of shape that their other stoves are made in. It's made of 304 grade stainless steel. It has, up here on the top, this cooktop is 1/8 of an inch thick, or 3.17 millimeters. The body all the way around is 1/16 of an inch, or 1.58 millimeters. Now the body dimensions of this stove, that's this big thing, it is 22.8 inches long. Alright, it is 9.8 inches wide over here from across the front, and it is 11.8 inches high. That's almost a foot high, or 58 centimeters long, 25 centimeters wide, and 30 centimeters high. This thing is huge. Now, the oven over here, this guy, and I'm assuming these are internal dimensions, I will check them. They say it's 9.1 inches wide, 7.1 inches high, and 7.5 inches deep. Or, in metric, this is 23 centimeters wide. It is 18 centimeters tall, and it is 19 centimeters deep. That is a pretty big stove built, or oven built right into this wood stove. Pretty cool. Assembled dimensions. Okay, now that would be from the front of this handle all the way to the back of the wood stove is 24.4 inches, or 62 centimeters. It, with these wings, these drying wings up here, these, with those folded out, on each side you're talking a width of 25.6 inches, or 65 centimeters. And with the stovepipe installed, we're talking an overall height of 100 inches, or 254 centimeters. Now, the stovepipe that this uses is 3.5 inches. It's a decent sized stovepipe. Probably get a good draft on this. In metric, that's 89 millimeters. Now, I said this thing's 100 inches with the stovepipe installed. That's about 8.3 feet for anybody out there that's trying to do the conversion. Okay? Now, weight. This thing is 43.1 pounds, or 19.6 kilograms. It is designed to work with a lot of the large accessories, like the water tank. It has 2 tabs here on the other side. I'll show you that in a minute. So you can put the large water tank on here. You can put the Nomad leg extensions on here. I previously reviewed those for my medium stove. And since this will take the 3.5 inch stovepipe, you can also put like something like the secondary combustion chamber on there. So you got some versatility here. Now, for one of the bad things, this will not fit in the large Nomad bag. It is too big. I called Winnerwell and I talked to a gentleman over there, and he actually went and got a large bag and tried to put one of these in it for me over the phone. It will not fit. I'm hoping that Winnerwell Corporate makes a bag for this, because this thing is enormous and it's heavy, and with glass here and glass in the front, you really need a protective bag to carry this in. Okay? Now let's get into some of my own measurements. One of the first measurements I wanted to check was the height from whatever surface you're going to set this on the ground to the top of the cooking surface. And that came in at 17.5 inches or 44.4 centimeters. So it's pretty tall, because this stove body right here is dang near a foot. It kicks it up pretty high. That's nice. Okay? The other thing I wanted to check was, if you look down here, the width between this very edge of the leg to the other one. What's that length? And that leg, that leg length, good God, I'm all tongue-tied, is 17.75 inches from here to here, or 45 centimeters. Then if you measure here on the stove side, from the front of this leg to the front of that, the back of that leg, I also got 17.5 inches or 44.4 centimeters. Gives you an idea of kind of where your feet need to go. All right, let me show you some other views of this. Giving you a nice front view of the stove. It's pretty large up here. Here on the opposite side from the oven, we have our 2 hooks for our large water tank to go right here. So that's pretty cool. And we got the back side of the wood stove. So we have 6 pieces of stovepipe, our ash grate, we have our piece of pipe with our flue section. You can see even with the flue fully closed, you got a little bit of a gap in there. So you can't fully close this flue. And our spark arrestor, which looks like it takes a lot of inspiration from the large version. And the ash scraper that comes with your Winnerwell stove. Now, I took one of these stovepipe sections because they go in here and they butt up against the outside of this oven, and I measured it to figure out how long of a piece of wood we can put in here. And it's roughly 11.75 inches or 29.8 centimeters. So that's still a decent log that's going in right here. So we're here at the front of the oven with the door open, and we're going in here. And as you can see, hot air can go underneath where the oven is, can go around the backside, and even over the top. Now, when you come up and you look down in here, you can clearly see that you even can get heat around this side of the oven. So you're getting it on the back, the top, the bottom, and the side. So you're getting coverage on what, 3, 4, 5 surfaces. So when you're looking in here, this bottom's going to be hot, this side's going to be hot, that side's going to be hot, and the top's going to be hot, just like a traditional oven. How cool is that? I just checked all the internal dimensions here, and they seem to be spot on with what the manufacturer is saying. Now, these stainless steel pans that I got when I did my review of Winnerwell Oven 2.5 inch pipe stove, they will fit in here. Take that out. But as you can see, these shelves kind of overlap, so if you were to do bread or something, it'd probably get a little stickage there. Not a huge deal, but at least I can put a pretty decent sized pan in here. I could probably do a decent sized lasagna in here, no problem. So that's pretty cool. Another thing I noticed, which I really like about this design, is this right here. This cover, which protects the back of the thermometer, can be, it looks like the whole thing can be removed by removing this snap ring. And that just looks like a pretty large, heavy-duty snap ring. So with a pair of snap ring pliers, come in here, pop that off. You could probably gain access to replace this if this ever goes bad. I like that. The pipe oven that I reviewed had it welded in, and that was just a kind of negative for me. Another thing, all the glass, front door and back, you have this little thumb screw here that will also take a flathead screwdriver. You remove that, and the glass can be removed. So to remove the glass for deep cleaning, which you probably shouldn't never have to do, you should be able to clean it here and the outside no problem, but you break this free with a flathead screwdriver, remove it, and there should be, there's a flat spring piece in here. So you have this flat spring piece that pushes on the glass, and you can remove the glass. You'll also note there's a spring piece right here, and that's to keep the glass from rattling. So make sure that this is tucked into the corner like that when you return the glass. This high temperature glass, if you need to replace it and you can't get a replacement from Winnerwell for whatever reason, and there is a wood stove place that can cut you glass, so I'm going to give you the dimensions on this. This is 4 1/4 inches wide by 6 1/4 inches long, or 10.79 centimeters wide by 15.8 centimeters tall. The thickness of the glass is 5/32 or 3.9 millimeters, or 4 millimeters, as near as I can tell. Okay, let's put this back in. Okay. Okay, there's the glass reinstalled. The front door in the wood stove, it's very much the same thing, except you have 2 of these screws. And once you get them disengaged, the spring piece should come loose. goes. I just felt it pop into my hand. There it is. And you'll see right here in this corner, there's another spring piece to keep that glass secure. And you just slide the glass out, and here it is. I just checked measurements. This glass is the same size and thickness as the glass on the oven door. So they're identical. So that's kind of nice. It makes replacement kind of a no-brainer if you got those dimensions, because it'll work for either the front or the oven side. Okay, I'm going to compress those springs until I can get that over. One thing I found that works really well to put this back in, because these are getting at the corners, is a coin or some similar object that you can push the spring against. So that's what I'm going to do here, is I'm going to use a coin to push that metal in. And then I'm going to visually check, and yes, that is in. And do the same thing up here to the top. And yeah. So a coin, a stick, whatever you got. And once these are tight, there we go. And that's the glass for the oven and for the wood stove end. One other thing, you'll see you got this lip here, and it fits into this groove on the door, very much like the other Nomads. So I think what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to install a gasket in here, a wood stove gasket, just like I did in the other one, to kind of close this off, so when I control my airflow via the air door here, that's the only air coming in. I don't have air coming in around this door, and it'll tighten this up so there's no rattle there. I have been talking entirely too long about what I'm seeing on this. It's time to take this outside and do a burn-in. So let's get out there. I have the Winnerwell Ovenstove out here in the back patio. I have it assembled. And chimney going up to the spark arrestor. I got a small load of wood in it, and we're going to see if we can get it started, build up some coals so I can start feeding it bigger pieces. So let's give that a try, shall we? So what we're doing is called burnout, and we're gonna get the oven nice and hot, the stove nice and hot, and we're gonna burn off any oils or any other residues that are left over from the manufacturing. As this wood stove heats up, this warning label, I'll bet you anything, is totally going to change its look, just like it did on my Nomad medium. So we'll come back and look at this after this has gotten good and hot and been burning for a while. We're about 5 minutes into our burn, and seems to be drawing pretty well. I'll show you the chimney and spark arrestor. You can see not very much smoke at all coming out of there. In fact, it's practically invisible. 5 minutes in on the burn, and it looks like the needle there for the oven has moved a little bit. Not a whole lot. I'll keep an eye on it. As you can see, let me move that rack. The warning label is toast. It is smoking and stinking. Woo! You know, and the crazy thing is, as soon as I smelt that, I totally remembered that's exactly how the Nomad medium smelled when that warning label burnt. Yep, good stuff. We are roughly 10 minutes into our burn. The needle has moved about that much, creeping closer to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll see how it goes. We are 15 minutes into our burn, and looking like we're getting a nice bed of coals going in there. I just threw in another small piece of wood to keep it going, and we're starting to get that bronzed look to the stainless, especially on the chimney pipe. Getting a little bit of smoke there. There might be a little bit of dampness to my wood, even though it's very well seasoned for more than a year. As you can see, that warning label is pretty much toast. It's still legible, but just barely. You know, all the paint and such that was on it have burnt off. There's no more stink, finally. So it's looking pretty good. So we're a good 15 minutes into the burn. As you can see, we're at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or what is that, 150 degrees Celsius, and the needle's still going up on the oven side. So that's pretty cool. You can see we're getting kind of a bronze look here on the side of the oven and all that. Pretty cool. And our fire is roaring along very happily in there. Here in the next few minutes, I'm going to toss in another piece of wood. Even being as careful as possible, opening and closing that door, I'm still dumping coals out. Let me show you right there on the ground. It's just a few, but inside your tent, if you don't have something down to catch those coals, you're gonna burn a hole in your tent. Ask me how I know. We're about 25 minutes in, and look at that temperature. Over 500 degrees Fahrenheit and over 250 degrees Celsius. That oven has heated up very nicely. Now you'd have to damp everything down depending on what you're cooking, of course. Most baking and stuff I do is between 375 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'd probably have to damp it down for what I would like to do. But very, very cool. I mean, not even a half hour and look at that temp. So I have the air control on the front door there open all the way, third notch. I'm going to see what happens right now when I close it all the way. Not that big of a difference. So that tells me right there that around the door I'm getting a decent amount of air leakage. Let me close the dampener on the stovepipe a little bit. Okay, that made more of a difference, but just marginally. And I closed the dampener about 70%. Let me show you. As you can see there, it's kind of at an angle, but not fully closed. But I'm definitely getting some air leakage around that door, so definitely putting a seal on it, just like I did the Nomad Medium. You can clearly see all those smudges and stuff. That's pretty much places I touched it with my bare hands before it heated up. So, yep, gives it character. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep this burning very hot for the next hour. I am going to crack open the oven door there so that can breathe and make sure our burn-in is very successful. We are approaching 30 minutes and look at that temp. Whew. So I'm gonna go ahead and crack this door, and we're just gonna keep feeding the fire. So now that can breathe in there and complete our burn-in. All right, here we are about 20 minutes after the last time I showed this temperature gauge. I got the door cracked open just a little bit, and the temperature seems to have stabilized right at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's pretty cool. Here's a side view of the door just to show you it's not cracked open very much. Maybe 1.5 centimeters, a little over 3/4 of an inch. Not very much at all. So my burnout is complete. I'm now ramping the temperature back up, and we're going to try cooking something in the oven. I went in the house and I said, what do I have that I can do in here? And what I came up with was a very basic and simple shepherd's pie, for one. So, take out this top rack. Pop in our shepherd's pie. And we're going to let that go for about 35 to 40 minutes, depending on temperature. Should be close to 400 degrees. I'll see you then. Well, the time is up. It's time to pull it out and see what we got. I can smell it. It smells really good. Oh, yeah. I think if it was in there a little bit longer, we would have burned it. So this is our shepherd's pie. You can see it was just starting to get a little too hot. That was the side facing the direct fire. So, lesson learned, anything I put in here, I'm going to have to rotate probably every 5 to 10 minutes so it doesn't burn. And I'm going to let that cool before I dig into it, because that probably has the consistency of lava right now. This has had a little bit of time to cool down. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. And the cats are at the door. I think they can smell this too. Like I said, it's a very basic, shepherd's pie. Yeah, that'll do. Let me eat this up and I'll get right back to you. Well, we have tested the Ovenstove's oven. Let's test the top cooking surface. Let's see if it gets hot enough to actually cook something up there. I'm pretty sure it does, so we are not going to be disappointed. I got my little fry pan here, and it's almost, well, it is dinner time, so let's make something yummy, shall we? So I got my cook kit, my folding spatula, and all that good stuff. Let me get all this out of here. Set that up there to warm. Oh yeah, that's hot enough to smoke the oil. Look at that. So I don't want to burn anything. So we are going to do some burgers because that sounds really tasty right now. Oh yeah, that's good and hot. Look at that. That's cooking that burger nice and fast. Now I know somebody's going to ask just how hot this top is. So I went and got my laser thermometer guy here. And it's looking like 125 degrees Celsius or 257 degrees Fahrenheit, right where I got that frying pan, which is right over the fire. And then you can see it's cooking really good. Go ahead and toast my bun. Ooh, maybe burn it. Wow, that's hot. Look at that. Just a few seconds in there. Whew. Okay. I think my burger. Oh yeah. That's what I'm calling done. Alright, let's get that off there. A little bit of pepper. Dash of salt. And last but not least, a little bit of ketchup. Okay, a lot of ketchup. I like ketchup. Oh man. Now that's what I call a burger. Oh yeah. I'm gonna eat my dinner. I'll be right back with you. We've got a good fire burning in there. I just wanted to take another measurement of the cooktop. So right about where we had the frying pan, looks like it's about 286 degrees Fahrenheit or 141 degrees Celsius. My fry pan heated up real quick. I cooked that burger in under 5 minutes. I mean, it was pretty hot. So, cooktop test, success. I have used this particular wood stove about 5 times now. I've cooked various things in the oven section. I've cooked stuff on top. And I gotta say, it's pretty awesome. I like it. So pros, it absolutely works. It delivers on what it says. In the con area, it's very large. You're only going to use this in a very large tent. We're talking like family-sized wall tent or something like that. This is far too big to be used in my UP2 Mini. You know, now looking back, I'm kind of wondering what the hell I got it for. I mean, I did want to check it out, don't get me wrong. I wanted to satisfy my curiosity, and sometimes I can't resist that, even if it costs me money. But I gotta say, this thing is awesome. It makes me want to get a bigger tent, you know? I mean, I wouldn't be against getting a much larger tent now with this wood stove. This thing's bad. If I had paid full price, I don't think I'd be as happy as I am. The fact that I got it on sale makes a big difference in everything. So, you know, whether or not you're interested in it and you want to get one, that's entirely up to you. It's big and it's heavy and it's expensive. Those are about the three biggest negatives with this. On the positive end, it works. On the negative side, you know, the firebox is short, so you're not going to use standard length split wood. You're going to have to cut it down or cut your own wood to length. Outside of camping, I could see other uses for this. Car camping, that kind of thing. I would imagine some areas where you can't have open flame, like a, you know, fire ring or whatnot. You could have this. The flame is enclosed. So, pretty cool, pretty cool. So that's all I got to say on the Winnerwell Ovenstove. Buy it, don't buy it. That's entirely up to you. I will see you all later on. Maybe in those woods over there. Maybe with a brand new stove. Okay. Thank you for watching. Everybody have a wonderful day.